What's up, everybody? It's your boy Panic Knife here with theawfulgamer.com, and today I'm going to be discussing how to become a great lethality sniper in Star Wars The Old Republic. Now, I'm going to be focusing on PvE, so there's going to be a few differences if you're mostly a PvP player, but that being said, I would highly recommend if you want to do PvE, this is how you set up your lethality sniper. Now, sniping is one of the pretty much the strongest range DPS classes you can do in the game, especially if you spec to lethality. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you my skill tree. Now, this is a pretty cookie cutter build for a lethality sniper. You're going to only have 2 points in marksmanship, both into the steady shots, which will help you with series of shots and cull and buff that damage, which is cull and series of shots are pretty much two of your strongest DPS moves out there, so these are pretty critical. The second one would be you'd have 8 points in engineering, explosive engineering for 3 points, 2 there and 3 there, and the rest 31 points into lethality. Now I'll put a link in the video to some of the builds on some of the bigger websites. I think I got this one off of SithWarrior.com. Their forums are excellent for the mathematics of the game and that sort of thing. So, you're going to look at my stats right here. This is completely unbuffed, unstimmed. Right now I have 2192 cunning. I did the plus 10 datacron and a few of the other datacrons, but for the most part this is a stock build with the gear that I have. And the gear that I have, a lot of it's actually a lot of campaign gear because I do hard mode de novo a lot, but you can get most of this stuff just through Black Hole Comms. What I ended up doing, as you'll see, is switching out a lot of my a lot of the mods and armorings and enhancements and creating my own gear. Even though it's listed as campaign gear, most of that's just for the look because I ended up taking the mods and armorings out of a lot of the gear and creating what I have here. So the first thing is I have the Black Hole Trappers MK1 device, and all my gear is augmented, by the way, with skill armoring or skill augments. So I have skill augment 50s. They're pretty well available at this point, so you should be able to augment all your gear if you want to be sort of best in slot. So I have the Trappers Mark 1 device because of the crit and surge. I have targeters enhancements for both of those. Now the reason I did that is because when you create the build that I've created, you lose a lot of accuracy. Before I had used the Ricotta ones that have crit and surge because you want to have a high surge with this build, but you're gonna end up getting your surge out the window, so you don't really need to power up to pile up more surge on your implants either. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. I would go for the Black Hole enhancements, and as you can see, actually you probably can't see, I go biochem, so I can craft these, which is nice. Now this is a legacy piece that you get for being legacy 10, and you can purchase it I think for 100,000, and it's an open you can with armoring and mod slots bracers. This is what I put in here. I put in the skill armoring 26, which is very expensive, unfortunately. Still, you can get that off of hard mode de novo, or you can get it crafted by somebody. This one was actually crafted by somebody that I did Nightmare Pilgrim with, who traded it for a magenta crystal schematic, which I think I got the better out of that one. It's 49 and 68. This is the best armoring in the game. The mod I'm using, this is going to be a critical piece that you're going to use all over the place. It's the Advanced Artful Mod 26. It has cunning and power, and this is one of the things that you're going to end up using all over the place, and I'll show you how to get it very shortly. Now, I use those bracers, augmented obviously. I use a campaign relic with the skill mod in it. It increases power. This helps me get through heavy DPS phases. And then I use my matrix cube. I augment that with the top augment. I use the highest level augment or matrix cube with the highest cunning and crit, and that's actually how you pile up a lot more cunning. Now you might prefer to use something that has an on use or maybe a passive DPS, but I've actually found that just having the extra cunning assists with both the critical chance and with several other things. So that's that helps out more than having an on use or a proc relic. Now I'm using obviously the top campaign Field Tech Sniper Rifle, which you get off of Kefis and Hard Mode de novo. This is the one piece that you're not going to be able to get unless you're a really hardcore raider. Now, it's an excellent piece, and the reason I got it, and the reason I have most of my pieces, is because it has power and surge. I previously was using a Ricotta main hand, and that has accuracy and I think crit. Now, I switched to having power and surge in almost everything, and as you will too, if you use my system here. Actually, I may have adjusted it. Hold on, let me check real quick. I may have added this enhancement, which is the enhancement you're going to be using all over the place, which is the advanced adept enhancement, and the artful mod 26. Those are the two pieces that you use generally in this build. They're both available off of the piece I will show you shortly. Now, this is the only piece that I have right here that is not best in slot, and I should be getting my campaign offhand soon. As you can see, my accuracy is a little lower than I'd like it to be, and the offhand that I'm going to be getting, the campaign offhand for snipers or for operatives, has accuracy on there, so it should be a little bit closer to 100 soon. Now, solely for looks, I'm using the Ultra Mesh headgear. I think it looks better than the campaign headgear because the campaign headgear has some crazy mask on it, which I don't like. But this is, as you can see, it has 82 power, 57 surge. This is the set of augments and mods you're going to use in pretty much the entire set. Mod and enhancement, rather. The Adept Enhancement 26 and the Artful Mod 26. So you can see I have that in that piece. I have a different one in this piece. I'll show you that one in a second. But as you can see, 8257, 8257 is pretty much, well, I guess it's only on a couple of them. But the other ones are, I left this one as straight campaign just because of the fact of the accuracy again. So you might want to keep one accuracy and crit piece just to make sure that your levels aren't too low on your accuracy. But for the most part, I'm using power and surge. Now, this is the other mod you can use, the Advanced Artful 26A. That's going to be off of campaign gear. I'm considering using that mod in other pieces and just stacking up the campaign gear because my guild has hard mode de novo pretty much on farm. But if you don't necessarily need to do that. You're only losing like 10 cunning, I think, off of each piece. So first of all, I'm going to show you which pieces you want to buy in order to get this. This is the number one piece. This and the gloves that you can get. The Black Hole Menders Mark 1 boots, which have the power and surge mods and enhancements that you need. That's the number one piece right there. The number two piece that you might need, I believe it's the Targeter's gloves, the Trapper's gloves, I'm sorry. So those two pieces are excellent for what you need to do. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that if you have the armorings, the skill 26 armorings, great. If you don't, if you don't have them right off the hand, just look for the piece that has the highest cunning. Now, some of these pieces, as you'll see, the Mender's pieces, you might have, 102 right there. That's not the best mod right there. It has too much endurance or something like that. Actually, that's just a bracers. Never mind. But some of these pieces, like this one right here, those gloves, have too much endurance on their armoring. So you're going to want to pick up instead of this, you want to pick up these gloves because this has a higher cunning. If it has 121 cunning, you can use that piece. That might be a little bit superfluous because what you're going to end up doing, like I said, is mostly buying these boots or those gloves right here because of the mods and enhancements. But once you get to the point where you want to maximize your cunning, you're going to need each piece. So that's not the right head. Let's see which one's the right head here. Alright, well, you may need, for a couple of them, to go through and get campaign pieces. Like, I use this campaign piece right here to create what I have on my head, just because of the fact that it has a higher cunning rating and that sort of thing. So what you're going to end up doing is using purchasing each of the pieces that has the highest cunning, and then using the mods and enhancements out of those two pieces, the gloves and boots that I showed you, in order to create basically your gear. Now, I've done the belt. There's also a belt that's on the same legacy settings here. I have those without the mod, or rather without the skill armoring. So it's that piece and my offhand is all I need to become basically best in slot as my sniper. Now, as you can see, buffed and stimmed, I have 2420 cunning, which is one of the highest on the server. As you'll see, I do quite a bit of DPS. You'll see it shortly, and I'll show you my rotation. Give me 1 sec. And we're back. Okay, so basically, as you can see, there's somebody actually on the training dummy at this point, but we're going to test DPS on the Operations Training Target Mark V in the bridge deck of the Zayas Shadow. My rotation's pretty simple, and it's pretty standard for Lethality Sniper, but if you've never run it before, it can be kind of confusing. So I'm going to show you exactly what it is. You start out with a Shatter Shot, which will debuff the target. It actually doesn't work properly on these operations targets, but that's not the point. I think we're going to do it anyway. Then I have it set up with Corrosive Grenade, Corrosive Dart, Weakening Blast, and Call. Now, immediately after you finish with Call, you go into cover, which I have set to Q, and you go through a series of shots, ambush, and then another Call. At that point, I'm going to reapply the dots and start the rotation all over again. This should be a pretty significant amount of DPS, and I'm going to give you the numbers based on the Mox parser that I'm running at the same time. So, without further ado, this is the rotation. Shatter Shot, Corrosive Grenade, Corrosive Dart, Weakening Blast, and Call. Then we go into cover, series of shots, ambush, Call. Pretty simple, right? Now, I'm going to keep doing the rotation in the background. I actually didn't need to reapply that Shatter Shot, but that's okay. I'm going to keep doing this rotation in the background while I discuss some of my keybinds. The big key here is you want to make it as simple as possible. The reason for that, I mean, it's obvious why you'd want that, but the reason why I have these set up the way I do is because it lets me sort of just work from A to B and to C to D, that sort of thing, and it's not very confusing. If I get off of my target, it's not very difficult to, sort of get back into my rotation. One of the things that people don't like about a Lethality Sniper is the fact that it's a little bit tough to take down individual adds. So if you're doing a boss that has adds that spawn or something like that, I'm going to decline that. If you have a boss that spawns adds, something like Stormcaller and Firebrand in Denova hard mode, you might have a little bit of trouble if you don't know what you're doing. That's why I assign cover to Q and have things like series of shots, ambush, and rifle shot on there, because all those things will allow me to basically take down adds pretty effectively. With the cunning as high as it is at this point, I'm never going to have trouble with not doing any DPS on these moves. Now, they're not necessarily going to be huge damage producers, but as you can see, I critted there for 4,800. That's not even really that high of a crit, but that's still going to do quite a bit of damage, and long term, those bosses are going to get you, or those adds are going to get taken down pretty easily by that. You can just fill with series of shots, ambush, and then rifle shot until you get series of shots back up. And you don't even need to reapply those poisons. But as you can see, this rotation's extremely simple. And if you really want to throw in things like adrenals, I have it set to Z, which is very simple. I have my proc relic, or rather my on use relic right there. I have my countermeasures set to Alt Z, which is another easy little thing there, and rocket boost, of course, because why wouldn't you have rocket boost, right? No self-respecting man would go without his rocket boost. So as you can see, I'm not even using my adrenals in this, and I am actually putting out, let me go look over there, 1468 DPS. If I add on things like my my adrenals, if I add on my the fact that my Shatter Shot's not actually doing damage, and the fact that my I'm not getting to the low DPS things like ambush, or rather takedown. I'm not getting some of the buffs from my skill tree that are, they kind of buff for when the boss is low in health and that sort of thing. So if you look at this, this is doing a very significant amount of DPS, sustained DPS. This is still, I'm actually creeping up now. Maybe I'm doing my rotation better, I don't know. It's actually over 1500 now. So this is pretty much what you're going to be doing as a Lethality Sniper. You're actually a lot more mobile than you were if you were using Marksman, and you do significantly more DPS. The most, with this exact build, the most DPS I was ever able to do as a Marksman Sniper was in the range of 1200 DPS. Right now, I basically do 1500 DPS on every boss. That includes Zorn and Toth when I have to keep moving. That includes the tank bosses, and that includes Kephis. So I would highly recommend, if you are looking for a ranged DPS class, to run a Lethality sniper. Anyway, with theawfulgamer.com, this is your boy Panic Knife. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great night.